We are in Ein Yaakov. Please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up. Hit the notification bell, because as I was told, if you don't hit the notification bell, you are not subscribed. You want to know when every single class is given. Besides this, everything. Also, please like and comment. We are in the Gemara, Shabbat. We're going to be flying today. So, all little sections. 163b3, it says, Amalei Abaye. Yeah, now they can hear me better. The golden mic. What's this?
ESP.
Yeah, the golden mic, whatever.
Excellence in broadcasting.
Excellence in broadcasting, right?
What's spike like from the real?
No. So Amalei Abaye. Abaye asked Rav Dimi, sits v'arighu. Was the sits a woven article? Vatanya, but we learned in the Braita otherwise. The sits, the kamin tas shel zahav. That's the sits. By the way, what was the sits? This is what we're talking about. The headband that what the Kohain wore. He wore it right here. The headband was right here. Okay, and it was tied to his head. And we'll see what was on it. But the question is, was it a woven article or was it not? So this says, wait, we have a bright that says the sitz was a type of gold plate, with 2 finger breadths wide. So you have this like this, or going around the Kohen Gadol only.
A gold band rather than cloth?
Well, that's the question. Okay. A mokev me'ozen la'ozen, which encircled the Kohen Gadol's forehead from ear to ear. The Katuv alav b'shtei shitin, and it was written in 2 lines. What was it? Yud he lamala v'kodesh alamid lamata. So the 2 lines were Hashem, the tetragrammaton, Yud Ke Vav Ke, that was on top, and on the bottom line you would have Kodesh Lashem. I'm sorry, Kodesh too. So Kodesh La. So and Amar Rabbi Elazar bar Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Yossi, said, Ani re'itiv be'eromi. I saw it in the city of Rome. Katuv, and it was written Kadosh Lashem b'shachat b'shita achat, that the holy to Hashem were all inscribed on 1 line. So I saw it. Re'iyah is seeing it is the best proof of anything, right?
In Rome, he said?
Yeah. I saw it in the city of Rome.
Huh.
Okay.
What did you see in Rome?
The sits, the headband. So there's an argument.
You saw people wearing it.
No. What happened was when the Romans destroyed the temple, they took souvenirs.
Yeah.
What we would call souvenirs. Why would they take these things? Anybody? To what? To parade around, right? To the victors go the spoils.
Yeah.
So they would keep these things, and because the Jews were the, you just have to picture Israel. You just have to picture Israel to this very day. It's a nothing. It's absolutely nothing in the Middle East. What it is a crossroads. It's like Indiana. If you want to get from one place to the other, you have to go through Israel. So whoever controls Israel controls passageways.
From Europe to the east, yeah?
Right. So that's why you wanted to, that's why it's such an important area. It's not Uganda. It's not Indiana. Nobody's going to come and capture Indiana. I don't think they will anyway. I can't imagine they would capture Indiana, but I understand. That's how the historians want to say it. It was a crossroads. People going through it. It was great for commerce. Yeah. We used to say about Bangor, and they said the same thing about Moncton, my first job, that these places were the central place, which is why they were so important to the Jewish community, because everybody would run through it, and they would settle there, and they would make their money. Because everybody has to, it was a service center. And so that's it. And by the way, if you would see Moncton and Bangor, you would never think anything of it. It's like a little town until you realize that, and I think they're both, well, Moncton had a decent, it was a city. So whatever the lowest amount of people can have to make it a city. But they certainly had people coming from all over. We had people from Prince Edward Island. You had everybody having to come there to, it was a service center. Same thing for Bangor. So again, you would look at it, you'd say a small town. You wouldn't see that much. There was no, I think in Bangor, the highest building, the sky, what do they call
Skyscrapers.
No. What? Skyline. I think the Skyline was an eight-story building. I think that was the biggest building we had there. And for Moncton, I think that they had maybe 15 floors tops. I remember it was a hotel there, the Beausejour. But that was it. You know, there was really nothing else to the Skyline. And so you would think it's a nothing city. But because, again, it was the center, so that would be why the community, and it was always a river by the community, by the way. In Moncton, there was a tidal bore, whatever that was really called. But it's really the tidal bore, but it was some massive river that was there. And Bangor, you had two rivers colliding, Kentuskig or something else. But it was two big rivers, and they had shipping there. So that was why the Jewish communities moved there.
South Bend.
It's like South Bend, right? Okay, South Bend, they wanted the river at one point?
St. Joseph.
I'm saying people would ship on this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so there you go. Same sort of thing as to why this becomes the center. So that's what Israel was, and that's what people were going through it. So now, like I said, when the Romans went through it, by the way, why the Romans destroyed the temple? Because the Jews were rebellious. They always wanted their independence. And so what happened was the Romans only wanted they were what do you call it, scared of everybody. They thought everybody was to get paranoid. They were paranoid, and on top of that, they wanted their taxes.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted. Give me my taxes and be quiet. Be good little boys, give me taxes, and I'll let you live. Because we're in the world of polytheism anyway. What do we care about your particular God? Right? But the Jews were stubborn about God. We only wanted one God and one Torah. Even though we were assimilating into their culture, even though you had the Hellenists and whatever the Hellenists would turn into, they still liked their own religion. That's why when it comes to, in America, the most amazing thing is that when Jews are attacked, a Jew or a group of Jews are attacked, every single denomination gets together to fight that, or to say, make a statement about the prejudice. When Israel was being attacked recently, what happened to Federation? Conservative, Reform, Orthodox, unaffiliated. We all went to the Federation and to have a service of some sort. Remember that? It was a couple of years ago. Okay?
I can't say I remember it.
It was a couple of years ago. But the point it was right around this time too, because it was right around the 3 weeks, and I had to give a prayer or something. Whatever it was, they asked me to read a prayer, and the funniest thing is they asked, just as a side point, they said just read the prayer, and so I said no speech, right? No, and nobody was supposed to be speaking yet. Every rabbi who got up and every other person decided to make a speech. I said I'm in trouble now. I didn't make a speech up.
You need to prepare and just have ready one for any occasion.
Well, that's what they say. You always have one in your back pocket anyway. So I got up and I said, we weren't supposed to speak, but since everybody is taking the chance, I'll go with it. And I explained to everybody this is 3 weeks, and the reason that it's such bad 3 weeks is because of Jews Jews hated each other for no reason whatsoever, and it's called baseless hatred. And I said, but Rabban Shalom, I suddenly turned the speech to Rabban Shalom, to God. I said, Rabban Shalom, I want to see, in this very room, we have assembled with us all the denominations, people who don't care about synagogue, people who don't do anything, but they came together for your children who are dying in Israel. What greater achdus, what greater togetherness could you ask for? So bring an end to this already. And then I gave the prayer. And everybody was like, whoa, that was so beautiful. But that's what this is. When we are strong, so then they can't touch us. And the Romans knew that. So they want to make us weak. And so how they make us weak? They destroyed the temple, which was our source of power. As long as the temple was there, we imagined that we could do no wrong. It's like the person, it's like the mafia guy who goes to church, does confession, and says, Father, forgive me for I have killed 5 guys. Or say 10 Hail Marys and take a walk. Well, that's the image that everybody has of that, so they can be good Christians and kill people too. Okay, and that is, I'm not saying that's what they do, but that's the image that we always have of that. That if I just confess, I can do anything. So that's, as long as the temple was there, the Jews felt they were untouchable. And the Romans understood, take out the legs and you stop rebellion. So what they did was when they took out the legs and they destroyed the temple, they took the menorah, they took certain things, and apparently they took the tzitz and they put it on display so that people could see the end, that we destroyed the Jewish temple and ultimately squelched the rebellion. You know who else wanted to do that? Fast forward to history.
The Nazis.
Yeah. Hitler was collecting a museum because he wanted to have a room for, this was the Jewish people. We wiped them out in 19, whatever he wanted to say. But that's why he was making a room with tefillin and everything else to show this is what they did. So again, that would have been something that we, nobody wants to be on display, but that's what it was. So that's why it says in Rome, whoever asked the question, that's why it says that they came from Rome. Okay. So he says, it's clear from this Braita that the tzitz was made of a plate of gold and was not woven. So then the question would go, how can you ask questions on that? So, but that's not going to be ours. We're getting into, that would be a different part of this. Okay, so now let's go. That's what we wanted to get from that part. That he saw it and it was in one line. So now we go to 64A4. 64A4. Get there, right? And then we are going to the words where it says, V'nikrav e korban ish. V'nikrav e korban ish. So that would be, I'm on 4, right? 64. 4. Where is it? This side and all the way down. Okay, you don't have it.
I'm still waiting.
You're still waiting. So it says the Gemara is digressing to expound homiletically a verse stated in the same passage as we had before, stated talking about corpse impurity, spiritual impurity. It says, "V'nakrev e korban Hashem, ish Hashem matzah kli zahav es adav samiv tabav ug agil v'chumaz." So the verse states, and this comes from Numbers. The Torah is recounting how the Moabites, the Midianites, on Bilam's counsel, had sent their daughters to seduce the Israelites to debauchery in an attempt to undermine the sanctity of the Jewish people. This resulted in a plague that killed 24,000 Jews. We just read about it. God then instructed Israel to wage war against the Midianites, which we'll read about this week, as a punitive action. Upon returning from this successful campaign, the army commanders offered an atonement gift to the Mishkan from the jewelry which was taken from the Midianite women. The verse cited here delineates the gifts. So that's why it says, they brought for God what any man found of gold vessels, anklet, bracelet, ring, an agil, and a kumaz. They didn't translate agil and kumaz. Okay? To atone for the souls before Hashem. Again, why did they, one thing that he doesn't say is, why did they offer a gift of atonement when they came back from their campaign? Because nobody died. In other words, the Jews, none of the Jewish soldiers who went into battle against the Midianite and Moabites died.
One of the girls said there was somebody here to talk. Somebody here for mowing the lawn. There was somebody here to mow the lawn.
You want to take care of it? Thank you. I have nothing to do with this.
Okay, I just
Hey, tell them to come back. I don't know. I'm not sure what they would want. Yeah. So thank you. That's why they were offering the gift, because nobody had died. None of the Jewish soldiers had died. So Amar Rabbi Elazar, Agil. What's an Agil? Zed defu shel dadin. It is an ornamental cast of women's breasts worn over them. Kumaz. What's a kumaz? Zed defu shel beit harechem. It's an ornamental cast of the womb. So that's what they would, some sort of jewelry that these women would wear. Something goes over their breast, and something that is a cast of the womb. Okay. So Amar Rav Yosef, Ihachi. So if that is the case, Hainu Targaminen Mechoch. If so, the kumas refers to the cast of the womb. This is why the word kumas is translated as machoch, davar hamevi lidei gichuch, a thing that leads to gichuch, which is levity. So it says Rav Yosef understands the Aramaic name for this ornament, machoch, to be based on the Aramaic word gichuch, which literally means laughter. Thus, machach is an object that brings about laughter. In this case, the intent is that it brings about leitzanut, levity, lewdness. The word laughter, like the word levity, is used here by the sages as euphemism for lewd behavior. So Amar Rav, Amale Rava, migufe karash famina. This meaning can be inferred from the wording of the verse itself. Kumaz, what does kumaz mean? Kan makom zima. So kumaz means here is a place of lewdness. Okay, we're talking about that place. Okay, so then it says, Vayiksof Moshe al Pekudei Achayil. The verse states, Moshe was angry with the commanders of the army. What caused the anger? Again, they're coming back from the war from Moab and Midian, really just the Midianites. But and the people brought back women and children. All the men were killed. And the animals. So then he says, what caused the anger? So Rav Nachman, Rav Baravua. Rav Nachman said the name of Rav Baravua. Amar lehem Moshe Yisrael. Upon seeing the commanders offer an atonement gift to the Mishkan, Moshe said to them, Shema chazartem l'kulchem harishon. Did you perhaps revert to a previous misconduct with the Moabite women and sin with the Moabite women? And he says, is this the reason for your offering of an atonement gift? He doesn't. So apparently they did not yet explain why they're giving an atonement gift. Yes.
So this is after the whole thing with the Midianite women.
Yeah.
And they go off to war with Moab.
Midian.
And to war on the two nations, and they come back with women, and then they start giving
children,
and then they start giving sin offerings.
Right.
So that Moshe is putting his
two and two together. Right. He's putting two together, and he's saying what's going on. So that's according to Rashi. The commentators find Rashi's explanation problematic because the sequence of verses therefore suggests that Moshe's anger was aroused by the fact that they had allowed the women folk to live. However, the Gemara's reconstruction below of the exchange between Moshe and the commanders indicates that the Gemara here is explaining Moshe's anger to be related to the atonement gift brought by the commanders. So the question again is what caused the anger? But right now, let's go with the Gemara and say that it wasn't a matter that they brought the women back. And what would be the problem of the women? So if you look at the Rashi in this week's parsha, when it says that the women that they brought the women back and he was angry, he said these are the very women that caused the plague. And this one misled that one, and he started to name people. So he said, what did you do? You brought them back. That was one. But here was saying, we don't know why you bring an atonement gift. Again, Rashi over there in the Chumash says they brought the atonement gift because they said nobody died. But so Rashi in the Chumash is not the Gemara here. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the discussion with Rashi. Rashi's just letting the reader know what's going on throughout the text. But here we're having a question. The rabbi's asking a question. What was he angry about? Yeah, I'm sorry?
I don't have a script
We're working without a script, right?
Why do you keep using the word atonement when it should be Thanksgiving that none of the soldiers was killed? What are they atoning for?
That's a question. That's a very question.
Yes, I know that.
So that's what we're trying to figure out. Your question is what we're trying to figure out. We don't know that. In other words, the Gemara is saying, what was Moshe angry about? What were they bringing atonement for? He doesn't know what they're bringing the atonement for. So he's angry with them. What did you do something with these women?
You're talking about a cause and a effect. One of each.
No, we're talking about.
What does atonement have to do with the things that none of the soldiers was killed?
Again, we're going to come to that. What I'm saying is Rashi in the Chumash tells the reader, because you as a reader of the Chumash should have had the problem. What's going on here? Why they're bringing a korban? Why they're bringing the sacrifice? So it says, so Rashi will explain to you that they're bringing it because nobody died in the war, and that was a miracle. Fine. So Rashi.
Not atonement.
Let me finish, please. So Rashi there is saying for the reader of the Chumash, we have a Chumash in front of us, we're going with that. The rabbis in the Gemara are not going with it. We're looking at a different thing in the Gemara. We're saying Moshe got angry. Why did Moshe get angry? We're looking at why he got angry. That's all we're doing. So we're saying, did he get angry? It's because he put, as Shmuel suggested, he put 2 and 2 together and got 5. He said, okay, you're bringing atonement. You brought the girls back. It must mean that you did something wrong, and that's why you're guilty. And I'm upset about that because we already lost 24,000 people. Is that the reason? And then we're going to go. That's all we are at this point. So what everybody's talking about here is Rashi following the Gemara, only following the Gemara, will then say he was angry about because he did not understand the reason for their atonement gift. That's all he's saying. Okay. So again. Did you perhaps revert to your previous misconduct with the Moabite women and sin with the Midianite women? Amalo, they said to him, Lo nivka ish. The reason we're bringing it is we took a census of the men who went to war, and not a man among us was missing, which was a miracle. Not one of us was found to be lacking in the observance of Jewish law. So he says the verse is thus construed to mean, no, not a man among us was found to be lacking anything of what he had been at the time he went out to war. None of us have been diminished by sin. So Amar Lehem, Im Kain, Kapara Lama. If it's true that you escaped from all these problems, so why do you need an atonement? Your question. What are you atoning for? So Amru Lo, they replied to Moshe, Imidea Variat Sanu, if we have escaped committing a sin indeed, Midei Hir Lo Yatsanu, we have not escaped improper thoughts. We're at a higher level now. In other words, normally I would only bring an atonement for what I did. But now you bother me for my thoughts. So saying, let's say we got away without sinning, but maybe we didn't escape improper thoughts. You're seeing all these beautiful women running around. Who knows what they're doing? So you can have that. So miyad v'nakrev korban Hashem. So immediately, therefore, it says we brought an offering to Hashem to atone for these thoughts, which shows a high level of piety, because they weren't responsible to bring that. Even though, by the way, this is an interesting hashkafic problem. Even though Hashem knows what we think, He knows what we think, and He can't even punish us for our thoughts, depending on what it is. Normally, will only punish us if our thoughts become actions. Normally not the other way around. So, normally it won't happen the other way. That it normally won't be punished for the mere thought. But the higher I go in spirituality, the more frum I become, the more I am going to be punished for certain things. So that's why as I elevate myself, I become more responsible to even control my thoughts. And that's what we're learning here. So, by the way, so someone could say to me, you know what, Rabbi, I'm going to stay where I am. I'm really not interested in elevating myself, because who can live at that level? Well, the point is, whoever worked themselves to that level can work at that level and can live at that level. Whoever hasn't obviously can't. We can't imagine being responsible for our thoughts. Our thoughts go a mile a minute. But as I condition myself and learn and know that even my thoughts are something that is to God. And by the way, when people daven, people who don't know how to daven properly, they don't know how to pray properly, what they do is they read the words. They don't say the words, they read it with their eyes. Okay? And so my question to them is, if you're expecting Hashem to read your mind, then what's to stop Hashem from reading his mind when you don't want him to read his mind? So obviously you admit that God can read your mind, because that's why we read it. That's why people read and don't say the words. Once I say the words, now why do I have to say the words? If God can, if God can read my mind, why do I have to bother saying the words? It would be so much easier just to skim the words and let Hashem read my mind, right? The answer is, we're doing that's for us. The more we say the words, the more real they become.
It's like concentration too.
Right, concentration. But they also remain real to us.
You also feel it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the whole idea behind meditation, that you feel it.
Okay, good. So that would be what's going on there too. Okay, so now we go a little further. It says, Tana debate Rabbi Yishmael. So that's the first thing. Tana debate Yishmael. Mipnei mahut shulchu Yisrael lefashuv ota do kapara. Why did the Jews of that generation, following the campaign of Midian, require an atonement? Mipnei, because shezanu einehem mina erva. They feasted their eyes on lewdness in the conquest of Midian. So Amar Rav Sheshet said, "Mibnei ma'amala katuv tachshitin shebechutz im tashichin shebefnim." Why the Torah lists the outer jewelry, the ring, together with the inner jewelry, the kumas? Lomarlach, which again is, there was no need to, what he explains is, there was no need to list specific types of ornaments donated by the returning soldiers. The Torah could have simply said that they donated every piece of jewelry. The specific listings were included to allude to the reason for the gift, namely the desire to atone for having feasted their eyes on lewdness and having indulged improper thoughts. But if so, the verse should only have listed the intimate items of jewelry that gave rise to these sins, such as the agil and the kumas. Why does the verse also list the articles of outer jewelry, such as rings? So it says, Lomar Lacha, to teach you. Kol ha-mistakel, you ready for this? There's a halacha, we rule like this, and everybody always misquotes it. Kol ha-mistakel, be'etzba ketana shel isha, anybody who gazes lewdly. You have to add that word. It doesn't say it. Mistakel is he's looking intently. At the little finger of the woman, the place where the ring is worn, and you're doing that for a reason, to get excited. Ki'ilu mistakel b'mkom hatorfa is considered like a one who gazes at the place of her nakedness, the place where the kumas is worn. So it says that it's teaches forbidden to gaze even at a woman's little finger if you have the intent for something else. You're gazing, you're looking intently. So I can't look at it doesn't say I can't look at a woman's hand, it doesn't say I can't look at a woman, period. If I gaze at her in a lewd manner, that's hamistakel. That is equal to looking at the kumas, which is the her womb, the form of a womb. It's going to bring you to thoughts that you shouldn't be doing. Okay, so that's what that halacha is teaching you. I mean, that's what that Gemara is teaching you. Okay, so now we go to the next one.
To see why that bit is not in this book,
I cannot, as I said, I do not know why that book is missing certain things. But now we go to 66b.
Well, they wanted to save us from lewdness.
There you go. 66b3.
Oh, we're still not there yet.
Correct.
Why didn't anybody write this stuff down?
They did.
Where?
It's here.
Oh, it's there. I
This
find
one.
it here.
I wish I could help you with that. Oh, I'm sorry. 64b4. I'm sorry. I skipped one. 66b4. 64. I can't read English anymore. 60. I can't read my writing. 64b4. Okay. I feel like I'm playing bingo. You know.
It's not English, it's Arabic.
Say again.
It's not English, it's Arabic. Arabic English.
Okay. There you go.
Um,
So Amar Ula. Where's Amar Ula? Before. Probably have to go back one page. Oh. So very nice. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 64. I'm sorry. One more. Go back one more page. 64b3. And we are where it says the Gemara answers. The very last one. Amar Ula. She says, Amar Ula. Oh, okay. Just so you should understand, the Mishnah says the woman can go out with certain things. It says that a woman can go out on Shabbat with her hair braided with strands of hair, whether the strands are her own hair, whether of her own hair or whether the hair of her companion, whether they're the hair of an animal or a front lid with the head bangles that are sewn to her hat
How
with
do you go out wearing somebody else's hair?
a wig.
Someone else's hair.
A wig. That's what a wig is. Somebody else's hair,
Yeah.
right?
so you're able to braid a wig or your own hair.
No, you're not able to braid it. You're able to go out with hair braided.
Yeah, you have to have it
It's braided beforehand,
That's right.
okay? And you're braiding it with strands of hair. So strands of hair cannot be drawn tightly enough around a woman's own hair to keep water from passing through, since they therefore need not be removed to the mikvah. We don't feel that the woman might remove and carry them in such an occasion. The point is you can go out with certain things, okay? She can go out with an ornamental cap or a wig in the courtyard with a wad in her ear, with a wad in her sandal, with a wad that she prepared for menses, with a peppercorn with a lump of salt, with anything else that was placed in her mouth, provided that she does not initially place it on Shabbat, and that if it fell from her mouth, she would not return it. That she would not return it there. In other words, it's just something that she can wear. Okay, and then it goes on further. A false tooth made of gold. Rebbe permits her to go out with it. The rabbis say it's forbidden because she may decide to take it out to show it. Fine. So now Ula says, why are these woolen and wig different from other items and that they alone are permitted to the courtyard? So Amar Ula said, Kedei shelo titgane al bala. The rabbis permitted these ornaments in order to ensure that the woman will not become repulsive to her husband through her complete lack of adornment. Okay? He says, so he explains, in order to maintain a woman's attractiveness to her husband, the rabbis permitted her 2 or more beautiful adornments at home or in the courtyard where she is with her husband. But now Yeshua asked, the reason a wig is prohibited in a public domain is because it will be subject to the one who wears it to ridicule. Yet the rabbis consider this item essential in preserving a woman's beauty. How can this be? He answers that this sort of wig was generally worn by a woman whose hair was rather sparse. It was therefore a vitally important component of her wardrobe. Nonetheless, some observers might ridicule one for wearing it since it reveals one's shortcomings. It is worth noting that Shiltei Geborim views our Mishnah Gemara as a source for the prevalent custom whereby married women who must cover their hair do so with wigs. See, however, Beersheba, who takes at length, takes sharp issue with that and prohibits the use of wigs. So even the Gemara, even later on, we start arguing whether or not you can wear wigs. Yeah. The problem with wigs today, by the way, is that the natural hair wigs sometimes look better than the woman's hair to begin with. More than that, you also cannot, if it's done right, you don't know if it's a wig. It looks like real hair. And so that is why Rav Evadia Yosef forbade Sephardim to wear wigs. And that's why they just have their scarf or whatever else they're going to put on. Furthermore, that's why Hasidim wear a wig, but they wear a hat on top of the wig. Or they put it in the bun, whatever it's going to do. Because this whole thing. It's, but the bottom line is, I'm only not supposed to see a married woman's real hair anytime, not just Shabbos. I'm just not supposed to see her hair. And so if she covers it, however she's going to cover it, that fulfills the mitzvah of that. So now when she puts on a wig, regardless of how beautiful the wig is, it accomplishes that. So is it, that's why women will wear a beautiful, certainly today, the wigs are beautiful and they really do a nice job on.
I should like to point out.
Yes.
If those real hair wigs possibly, as you said, look better than their own real hair, why wouldn't that lead to lewd thoughts?
Which is why, so they're agreeing, the rabbis are agreeing with you. And that's why Rav Evadia Yosef said, the Sephardi rabbi said they shouldn't wear it, period. They should put it on a head covering. So there are people agreeing with you. The other people who say you can is because you're not doing anything wrong.
By wearing or by not wearing?
No, you have to cover your hair. So by wearing it. A married woman must cover her hair.
And are there any stipulations differing between real hair and false hair, or they didn't have fake hair back then?
No, they had synthetic hair. Yeah. Well, I don't know if they called it, but...
So were those treated the same way?
The old day, in the old day, the wigs, you could tell it's a wig. It's like when a man puts on a toupee, you could tell it's a toupee. Yeah, it's now it's very hard. Now it's very hard. You don't know what you're looking at today. You really don't. Yeah, you're gonna ask. Somebody's asking.
Like the word and the line start to blur between fake like wigs back then. It was okay, but at some point you get good enough that the lines blur. And
Correct. Correct. So that you're running into that problem. Correct. And so that's what I'm saying. You have that question, but so now but again, the rabbis were very careful because they never wanted the woman to be repulsive to her husband. So if you're not going to allow her to put on her makeup and so on and so forth, and I'm not saying all makeup is permissible, but if you're not going to allow them to make themselves beautiful for their husband, that could cause a problem. So you want that, so that's why they would allow certain things to happen. Kedetanya, like we learned in the Braita, with regard to the adornments of a menstruating woman, Hadava v'nitata, the Torah states in enumerating those become contaminated through bodily emissions, and the menstruating woman in her state of nida is a Kohain Rishonim Amru. So the rabbis, based on the words of her state in the nida, the early elders decreed, Shelo tichachol, that a menstruating woman may neither apply eye makeup, v'lo tipkos, nor apply rouge, lo tkashe bigdei tziva'onim, nor adorn themselves with colorful clothing, so that she will remain in a state of separation from her husband. Ad sheba Rabbi Kiva v'limei, this decree remained in force until Rabbi Kiva came and taught Imkain atamagana al bala. If so, you're going to make her. If you're not going to forbid her from putting on the makeup, the rouge, and she can't wear colorful clothing. So what you're going to do is make her repulsive to her husband. And what's going to happen there? V'nimsa. Wait, hear the end. V'nimsa bala megarsha, and her husband will subsequently divorce her. Ella, my Talmud. So if that's the case, Rabbi Kiva said, what are you going to do with the word Ve'adava b'nidata, that the menstruating woman in her state of nida? B'nidata tehe ad shetavo b'mayim, that she remains in her state of nida until she immerses herself in the mikvah and the water of the mikvah. She's permitted, however, to adorn herself during the period of her menses. So Rabbi Kiva is saying, you guys are reading it wrong. The way you're making it is the husband won't want to be with the wife anymore. So why would you want to do that? So they said, well, how do you understand the verse? They're not asking, but the Gemara is, how do you understand the verse? And he's saying that she remains in Nida until she goes to the mikvah, which is why, by the way, all single girls are in a state of Nida from the Torah's point of view. Never mind just from rabbinics. Is from the Torah, because she never went to the mikvah. And why did the rabbi stop single girls from going to the mikvah?
So natural beauty can be seen.
No, I'm saying why they stopped. Originally, everybody you would go through your nida cycle, you go to the mikvah, and you become tahor again. So why? And then you could do a lot of things as a tahor person. But the rabbis forbade single girls from going to the mikvah. Why?
I thought it was to remain attractive looking.
No. Why?
Repellent? Oh, what's it? What you see, it's like not iron hard.
You're going too far. You're going too philosophical. What would happen if I know the girl is not a nida? What? Correct, right. Because I'm going to get cut off. So I'm going to get spiritually cut off from the Jewish people if I have sexual relations with a nida. So if the girl went to the mikvah and she's no longer a nida, she's forbidden to me. I shouldn't have premarital relations.
Yeah, that stops both the man and the woman.
Right, so I shouldn't have premarital. But if I have premarital, it's only a negative injunction. Okay, so I'll be whipped. How much whipping is worth the event? Okay, and now, but on the other hand,
Part of the event?
no. Okay, I understood it, and I said no. Okay, but on the other hand, if I'm going to get spiritually cut from the Jewish people, whoa, that I'm not going to do. I'm not the guys. That would stop the guys from doing it. That's why the rabbis stopped women from going to the mikveh after their single women from going to the mikveh. Okay, yeah.
We have a question.
Say it again.
I had a question a while ago.
Go ahead.
Rouge?
Rouge.
I thought that was called for clothing. What is rouge?
That's what?
I thought clothing.
Red.
No, rouge is what you put on your face. Or with women, put on their face.
That's makeup, no?
Yeah.
What is it makeup?
It's like the cheeks, right?
Yeah. It's some sort of powder.
What's the difference between rouge and makeup then?
Same thing. Rouge is makeup.
It's all the same.
Oh, okay.
So I'm saying the rabbis originally held that you shouldn't do it because they wanted the women, when they get into nida, okay, remember, you're married. Okay, so when you're married, you're intimate, right? Okay, so I'm passing the stuff to my wife, I'm doing all these things. It's normal things. You need something, honey, here, I pass it to you, and I don't put it down, I pass it right to you, okay? So now what happens, she goes into nida, I now have to go like this, and she has to pick it up. Well, how do I know she's in nida? I'm so used to, normally, you're normally just doing things, so unless you're going to wear a sign, I'm in nida, don't touch me, so I have to have some sort of sign that nobody else knows. So what happens is they used to wear special clothing, whatever, or they used to. There were signs for the husband to understand that the wife is in nida. Now the truth is that the people, if they would watch what's going on, I put the cup down and she takes it. I never hit anything to her. You can figure it out. But again, we're not announcing it from the rooftops. What's going on? It's interesting that somebody was at my house every single week. Okay, it's what we call a bus bayit. She's by us every single week, and my wife was pregnant with Sima, and so when she's pregnant, she's not in nida, so you can pass is normal like anything else. So before we announced to the world that my wife was pregnant again, she knew it because she saw that we didn't stop. I never put the stuff down. So she already knew that something was going on. So when we finally told her, God willing, she said, I already knew. because you kept passing it. Truth is, I never quite thought about it, but when you're there every single week, and you don't know what I see. Today nobody would know because my wife's sitting too far away, so I put it down and she picks it up. So you'll never know. But but in those days, she was sitting next to me.
Could she tell how she passed it, whether it would be a boy or a girl?
No. That's if you're high or low. That's if you're high or low.
Somebody had to ask. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Higher level.
That's if you're high. My mother said if baby's riding high, it's a boy. Low, it's a girl. Or something like that. They're all wrong. All these things are wrong. But that's what's going on. Yes, they are. Yeah. Okay, so then we have. We continue on. It says, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav. So Rav Yehuda said the name of Rav, that Kol Makom She'asru Chachamim Bnei Marat Ayin, wherever the rabbis prohibited an act, because we're concerned of that it might give the appearance of wrongdoing, Marat Ayin, Afilu B'chadre Chadarim Aser. Even the act is prohibited even in one's most private chambers. She says, accordingly, on the Shabbat, one may not don battle dress or rope beasts together even in a private place where there is none to see. The reason for this sort of decree extends even to places where no one will see, is that the rabbis feared that if they allowed this activity in a private place, one might mistakenly come to believe that it is permissible in a public place as well. Alternatively, they knew that there can be occasionally an onlooker, even in the most private place. Now, you never would have thought about that being true until today. This little thing, this computer, as long as I have the computer on, they can spy on us. We all know it. We all know it. Because you have the camera right here that they could get to. If I don't have, I have a better camera. But they can use my better camera and see what I'm doing. But they can turn it on anytime they want, the government. So we literally have eyes in our private places. Okay? And that is, so it's amazing that the rabbis, we're talking about 1,500 years ago or more, dealing with this, saying the casual onlooker can see you even in your most private places. Today we live with that. And today, for those who have Alexa or whatever else, Google in their homes turning on and off lights, that's just welcoming the government to your life. Come on. I don't know why people do that. It's like there's no privacy. At least before they had to put some fillers in the house to try to, bugs. We had what they used to call them, bugs or something. Today, you don't have a bug. You welcome them in. It's like a vampire. Please come in. The whole thing about a vampire was they weren't, just so you guys should know.
No, they're not allowed in.
They're not allowed in unless you welcome them. Well, that's what we've done with the government. We've welcomed them in with open arms with Alexa and all these other things. So it's Google, Hey Siri, all these things. It's okay. Okay, so now we go to. Oh no, we don't go anywhere. We'll have to stop here. Okay, very good. Yeah. Oh, this for the viewing audience. This will be the last class for a little while. I'm going on vacation. Thank you.